What is going on, guys? This is Miasin, and welcome to my Metalfoes deck profile for the current TCG metagame breakdown, but not really because I am using Beyond the Pendulum, so this is going to have to wait until we get this card, which I don't think it should be in that long. I think maximum May or something, so yeah, worst case, wait like 2 months, but nothing is going to get hit in a negative way for this deck. If anything, maybe Astrograph might go to 2 in order to promote Beyond the Pendulum even more. So again, if this video gets a lot of likes as well as the combo video, I said 500 likes, I will be making a Master Duel version of this deck. So before this video starts, make sure to like and subscribe again, of course, as I always ask, and don't forget to check me out on Twitch and Instagram. And with that being said, let's jump right into it. So I am playing 3 Wolfflame, 3 Gold Driver, 3 Silvered, 3 Steelin, and 3 Malcaster with 3 Bismuth gear. Of course, I can't really be racist with a level 1 that you can't Pendulum summon. And I'm playing 3 Summoner's Art, which can only search Wolfflame. So in other words, I'm playing 6 copies of Summoner's Art. Well, technically you can search Dragon Pit, but you're not even trying to search Dragon Pit anyways. It's a card that you summon off of Harmonizing or Purple Poison, so you can either destroy it with the Metalfoes and destroy cards your opponent controls, or make like a rank 4 like Dweller. So this deck really has options to counter a lot of really annoying decks and cards. So the Metalfoes engine, the reason why you're playing 3 of everything is because you just want to see a lot of Pendulum cards if you want to play. Like, you don't want to draw your taxes, like the Metalfoes combination, Metalfoes fusion, etc. These cards are ass to draw, very bad. And yeah, I mean, this is just a thing with combo decks in general. And this is a hardcore combo deck. It's not like a Pendulum control deck. So yeah, you need as many engine cards as possible. And this deck is not really good with hand shops. It's never been the case, unfortunately, as well as the fact that Astrograph is at 1, so that's really not a lot of copies. If we got like maybe 3 Astrograph, then maybe the deck could become a little better and could actually play with hand shops, because you would be able to play with like 3 cards instead of like 5 every single time. But yeah, no, you really need as many cards to play as possible. And yeah, like I said, the Dragon Pit, 3 Abductors, so you can search your Magician's Souls, and it's also searchable with Illusion of Chaos and Preparation of Rites. I'm not really trying to play 3 of each now because they break so much, right? Sometimes, like, you already have access to Souls, but you draw like too many copies of, and because of that, then you can't even combo, even if you have Souls. So that's the reason why I'm only playing 2 Illusion of Chaos with 1 Preparation of Rites. But of course, Magical Abductor is still good because it's a Pendulum monster. So it takes up your normal summon to make Beyond the Pendulum, and then you just win the game. And for the rest of the monsters, I think this is... everything has already been explained. For the spells, I'm playing Metalfoes Fusion. This card can fuse using your face-up extra deck. That's pretty filthy, as well as from the hand and face-up field, but you can only use one monster from each of these categories. So yeah, you can't do like 2 monsters from the face-up extra deck. That would be like absolutely broken. And fun fact, VFD is actually in the picture. That's pretty freaking sick. Anyways, Upstart Goblin, I guess 39. I hate when people always say that, but I guess, man, 39 card deck. Metalfoes Fusion, of course. I love drawing Metalfoes Fusion off of Metalfoes Fusion. It makes me so happy. Oh, Copium. Yes, and everything else, like I said, taxes and blah, blah, blah. Alright, for the extra deck now, Orichalc, Vortex, Zortlex, now, Zortless, Jesus. This is the one card that I kind of want to explain. This is a little worse than Full Metalfoes Alcahest because this card kind of steals a monster your opponent controls, whereas this actually pops a monster, and it's a little harder to summon. You need a fusion monster with a Metalfoes monster, whereas this is only a Metalfoes monster and a normal monster, and most of them are vanillas anyways. And on top of that, Zortless also has to like shuffle back 2 cards from your extra deck to the deck, well, face-up extra deck to the deck in order to pop a card, so I don't know, sometimes it can be a little too hard to like accomplish that, because you don't necessarily have like 10 billion cards in your extra deck. So yeah, I think Alcahest is still better, but this is not too bad, especially since when it dies, it goes to the Pendulum scale, so you can have a scale, and it has like a relevant effect in the scale, but it's nothing huge, and 1 is way more than enough. Mithrilium, this card is broken. It recycles back resources from your grave to the deck, so you always have like a grind game, and when it's sent to the graveyard, you can revive back a Metalfoes from your graveyard or face-up extra deck. That effect is not once per turn, but the first one to bounce a card in order to shuffle back 2 Metalfoes cards from your graveyard into the deck to bounce back a card. That effect is once per turn. So you can bounce back your own Astrograph and abuse it. So that's the reason why Mithrilium is disgusting. But when we had Draconic Diagram, you could bounce back your own Diagram, and that would get you access to Masterpiece and True King's Return. So you can tribute summon for Masterpiece, literally using only 1 single Diagram on your opponent's turn, with a return on the Absolute, and summon Vortex on your opponent's turn. So the deck could easily make 5 interruptions, and it was filthy. Anyways, Alcest, Absolute, Dweller, Appaloosa, Selene, Phoenix, Sita, Beyond the Pendulum, IP Masquerina, Link Spider. Every single one of these cards is very just self-explanatory. Phoenix, it's probably the card that you summon the least often. Hita is also kind of irrelevant, so you can probably cut that. Beyond the Pendulum is very broken. I think you can even afford to play like a second copy of it. Masquerina is there because you can make Appaloosa on your opponent's turn using the Absolute Dragon in order to make Vortex on your opponent's turn, which is another interruption because you get to bounce back a card on the summon. So that's the thing about Vortex. It's not just an Omni-Negate, it's also like a Compulse on the summon. And Link Spider is there because you can turn your vanilla Metalfoes monsters into effect monsters in order to have half of the materials for Beyond the Pendulum. So that's it for the extra deck. For the idea section, I'm playing, or rather, I'm considering playing Odd Eyes Dissolver. Rather, I thought I would maybe consider playing this card, but yeah, I don't know. I think the deck has evolved so much that you don't really have to afford, you don't really have to run this card. It's a card that allowed you to actually fuse for the Vortex, so avoid the loop of making the rank 7 Absolute and then linking it off, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's a brick. It's a level 8 monster. You can use it as a fusion material, sure, but you can't Pendulum summon it, and it's a card that you really try to send with Magician Souls, but I'm not the biggest fan. Pankratops is a card that you can Pendulum summon. It's a level 7 monster, so it's perfect aside. You can draw it going second, either with your draw for turn, or Upstart, Magician Souls, Metalfoes Fusion, etc. And it is an interruption when you go first, or when you're going second, you break boards and you interrupt your opponent, so it's like perfect in this deck. Jackal King with Cerberus, I don't really recommend them, but Jackal King alone might be decent. You can again send it with Magician Souls, revive back with Selene, and it's an interruption just like that. Amorphic Sloth is not a card that I really think makes too much sense to play in this deck because you really are trying to combo off, and even if, you know, a Domain Lock is pretty good, it's just going to end up losing to like Dark Ruler, unlike Artifact Side that you shotgun on standby, so that's the thing that you have to keep into consideration. Droll and Logbird and Veiler are huge. Now you might be thinking, well, they are a hand trap, so they kind of suck, right? If you are only playing one of each, you can search them with Abductor, because this searches a level 1 spellcaster from your field, from your deck to your hand, when it is on the field as a monster, and in the skill it searches any Pendulum monster, so you can search either for Souls, or if you already have one, you can search for Droll or Veiler. And of course, Crimson Knight is a card that you would have to play if Super Poly is just a card that you just absolutely have to play. So the requirements are 1 Metalfoes monster with 2 monsters with 3000 or less attack. It doesn't get any more generic than that, but it does use up your normal summon, so that kind of sucks. And it's a vanilla monster, so you can't even do like that much with it. But still, Link Spider, you can make Link Spider with it, which is going to be the effect monster, as I said, for Beyond the Pendulum. And yeah, Super Poly into this, pretty disgusting. Now, of course, Borrowed Sword with Unicorn. Heavy Metalfoes Amalgam is absolute dog shit. Don't even consider playing it. Cross Sheep is no longer worth playing because Beyond the Pendulum is infinitely better. And Painful Decision is not a card worth playing either because it's once per turn. So if you play more than one, it's going to suck absolute shit. And on top of that, it gets rid of like 2 cards with the same name from your deck to the grave or hand. So your Astrograph is going to be searching way less often since it searches a card with the same name as a monster that was destroyed. So sometimes you have like 0 copies of the card left in your deck and Astrograph just can't search. So that's my issue with Painful Decision. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.